Man, it's just like Christmas Day for football fans, man. You know, like the 53's out. It's getting closer to September, and everyone's making their final cuts, their final additions to the roster, and we know who's going to take the field. Good Thursday morning to you. This is Mac, and I am back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link in the box below. So in this video, I'm gonna be giving my thoughts on the 53-man roster for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was put out on Tuesday, and I just wanted to gather my thoughts on it right now and just give my reaction to it and what I think is going to happen with the 53. Now, this is not the final 53. This is just the initial one. There might be some more additions and subtractions on the way, and the most recent subtraction from the roster that I'm still hyped up about, I'll be getting into in a little bit, even though you probably know what it is. But yeah, let's get on to it. This is your 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers 53-man roster. So starting off with the offense, quarterbacks is pretty obvious. You got Kenny Pickett's going to be your starter. Mason Rudolph and Mitch Trubisky are your backups. Again, no surprise right there. Let's just move on. Running backs, again, kind of a no surprise either. You got Najee Harris, you got Jalen Warren, and you got Anthony McFarland Jr., even though I would personally say that Jalen Warren should be your RB1, Najee at RB2, but I get the logic right there considering Najee was your first-round pick a couple of years ago. But either way you look at it, I'm glad that Anthony McFarland Jr. is going to be in the depth as far as the 53-man roster goes, as far as the backfield. So, again, no surprise right there. Wide receivers. Now, I only thought that we'd keep 5 receivers, but we ended up keeping 6 receivers, so that's a pretty good surprise right there. But here are your receivers. Calvin Austin III. Way to go. Can't wait to see this guy play, man. Miles Boykin. I'm kind of surprised that he made the 53, but I kind of maybe he's going to be like a depth piece, or he's going to be like a 6th option at some point. But Miles Boykin makes the 53. Obviously, you got Deontay Johnson in there. Big year for him, coming off that extremely disappointing year to say the least. But what can you do? Gunnar Olszewski makes the 53. I kind of figured he would, seeing that he is going to be on special teams, in my opinion. But he has made some plays with the regular offense as well. So Gunnar, I anticipated to be him on there as well. George Pickens, he better make the 53. So that's pretty obvious right there. And then, of course, you got Allen Robinson the second. So those are your wide receivers for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, kind of a no surprise, but, there was a couple that I did not think that would make it. It's more of like the quantity of the wide receivers that we had. Moving on to the tight ends. We have 3 tight ends this season, with one of them serving as a fullback as well. You got Pat Freiermuth, you got Darnell Washington, and you got Connor Hayward. Those are your tight ends. Connor Hayward, the human Swiss Army knife, will be playing that fullback role as well. So I really like this tight end core right here. Obviously, Muth is going to be your first tight end. And the Steelers, it looks like we are really confident that we can put Darnell Washington on that O-line as well. Like I posted about, a couple of months ago or so at least, that I said Darnell Washington is going to be your 6th man on that O-line right there due to his incredible blocking ability. And hey, I guess Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan saw that video, or they heard my voice from about 100 miles away, because it looks like Gentry didn't make the cut, or at the very least, he is going to be cut by us. So that way, we're that confident that Darnell Washington is going to be that guy already. So I really like this weaponry that the Steelers have right here, especially for a guy like Kenny Pickett entering his 2nd season. You got a mix of veterans plus some guys that are in the same boat that he's in, a young guy. in his first couple of seasons in the league. So I really dig this weaponry that Kenny Pickett has. Now let's get on to the picket fence, as we all call it here in Pittsburgh. Your offensive line. The Steelers are going with 9 linemen this year, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on what the starting offensive line is going to be. Left tackle, at least for the first 3 weeks, Dan Moore at left tackle. Broderick Jones is definitely going to be the backup. Why am I saying Dan Moore is going to be left tackle? Well, it's simply because of the pass rushers that he's going to have to face the first 3 weeks. Week 1, Nick Bosa. Week 2, Myles Garrett. Week 3, Max Crosby. So, in my opinion, putting Dan Moore at left tackle for the first few weeks of the season is the right call. Not that Broderick Jones is not that I don't want to see Broderick Jones. Quite the opposite, actually. I think every Steeler fan wants to see Broderick Jones. And I promise you we are going to see him at some point. But you also don't want to rush Broderick Jones because like I've been saying all throughout training camp, Broderick Jones was going against pass rushers like Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt, and he just wasn't winning the battles right there. Obviously, that has a lot to do with the experience, and that has a lot to do with the kind of players that they are, and that Broderick Jones is just a rookie. But you don't throw a young guy like Broderick Jones into the fire like that, especially against elite to very good pass rushers like the Steelers are going up against in the first couple weeks. So in my opinion, putting Dan Moore at left tackle for the first few weeks is the right call. If you want to get Broderick Jones his first start, I would probably start him week 4 against Houston, where the Texans don't really have any standout pass rushers. But yeah, Dan Moore Jr. is the right call for your starting left tackle, at least for the first couple weeks of the season. Left guard's going to be Isaac Seumalo. Again, no contest right there. One of the best linemen in the league. We got him from Philly. I think Spencer Anderson has a good shot of, being his backup right there at left guard. Mason Cole is going to be your center this year. Why Mason Cole? Because on Tuesday, we finally got rid of Kendrick Green. Oh, thank God we got rid of Kendrick Green. That guy was absolutely useless. Not just as a center, but on the O-line in general. That guy was getting bullied and getting pushed into the pass rush all the time. He has had so many chances to redeem himself, but now we don't have to worry about him anymore because he gone. And we got him. We got rid of him to Houston for a 6th-round pick in 2025. Honestly, I don't care what draft capital we got out of that. I'm just happy the dude's gone. Plain and simple. But Mason Cole, I anticipate him to start at center this season for us. James Daniels is going to be a right guard. I anticipate Nate Erbig to be his backup. And then, of course, you got Chooks at right tackle. So that's just my opinion as far as the starting O-line goes for the Steelers. And I'm really happy to see that Dylan Cook made the 53 as well, because he was taking a lot of number 2 reps in training camp as well. Looks like he's going to be a good swing and rotational piece on that O-line as well. I think he'll make a really good backup right there. And yeah, that'll do it for your O-line right there. Again, 9 O-linemen for the Steelers, 10 if you want to count Darnell Washington, but as far as the positions go, we are going a 9 lineman set this year. So that's your Steeler offense right there. Again, looks way better than last year, especially with the offensive line. I can't wait to see how we're going to go. Now let's take a look at the defensive side of the ball. Defense looks pretty solid this year. Let's start with the D-line, as we have Armon Watts on the D-line. He is probably going to be platooning for Larry Ogunjobi. He's a pretty good starter. I mean, obviously, Larry Ogunjobi is going to be your starter on the D-line as well, along with Montravius Adams. Keanu Benton makes the 53. Can't wait to see that dude play. Cam Hayward, DeMarvin Leal, Isaiah Loudermilk as well. They all made the 53. So this D-line is just really stacked. And again, let me just break it down here for you, okay? I think Montravius Adams is going to be a starter. Keanu Benton is probably going to switch him up, and he's going to, be a swing guy for the time being, like I've been saying in my videos. Then you got Cam Hayward. That should be a no-brainer about who's going to be on your D-line right there. Cam Hayward, I think he's going to be here for at most 2 more years with us and then call it a career because he's getting up there in age. But Cam Hayward has certainly been a leader on this team for the past couple of seasons, and he's been really breaking out. It's great to see him back here. I think DeMarvin Leal is probably going to start swinging with him a little bit to get that experience built up right there. Who else am I missing? Loudermilk, I expect him to get some playing time. And then, of course, I just talked about Larry Ogunjobi and Armin Watts as well. So the run defense right there, I think, really improved. And then, of course, you get some other really good guys that can generate some pressure and rush the quarterback a little bit. Not so much sack the quarterback, but just make the quarterback work a little bit more. So this D-line definitely did improve in the offseason. Now let's get to my favorite part of the entire team and a lot of other people's favorite part of the team, the linebacking core, baby. Because if you know me, I've been preaching it for years. I am a defensive guy. I always was. And this linebacking core just looks incredible this year. You got Quan Alexander, you got Marcus Golden, you got Nick Herbig, you got Alex Highsmith, Cole Holcomb, Landon Roberts, Mark Robinson, and of course, number 90, back fully and healthy, TJ Watt. Those are your 8 linebackers this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 4 on the edge, 4 on the inside. This looks really solid right here. Let me just break it down for you right here. Quan Alexander is definitely going to be an interior. Marcus Golden, he can definitely be on there as well. Nick Herbig, I anticipate him to be on the inside, with him probably having some swing pieces on the outside as well. Alex Highsmith is definitely going to be on the other side of TJ. Cole Holcomb, I expect him to get some reps in as well. Same thing with Roberts. Mark Robinson, it's either he's going to be a starter on the inside or he's going to be a rotational piece as well. And then, of course, there's no question about it. TJ Watt is your lead pass rusher. He's, in my opinion, the best pass rusher in the league. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, this linebacking core right here definitely should be a league leader in sacks, if not the league leader in sacks right here. This is a good group of guys that are physical. Some of them are getting up there in age a little bit, but they're not ridiculously old. I think TJ Watt is only a year older than me, so if I'm calling TJ old, then I gotta call myself old. But it's not like he's on the wrong side of 30. He's not even 30 yet, but you get the point. This is a good group of linebackers right here. I'm a big fan of the 4 edge and the 4 inside right there. You got guys that are very versatile, that can definitely bring up sacks and drop into man and zone defense like Quan Alexander did. He had a pretty good preseason as well, pretty good training camp all summer as well. Nick Herbig, I definitely am a big fan of this guy. 6 sacks in preseason for Nick Herbig. I think he's going to be a really good contributor as far as this linebacking core goes. Newly extended Alex Highsmith, can't wait to see him play. And then Mark Robinson is a guy that we have been itching to see for, the past, year right now, because it was a really big upgrade. Not a big upgrade, but I think he seemed like the better option than when we had Miles Jack when he was here. So those are your linebackers for the Pittsburgh Steelers right there. Defensive backs, again, kind of no surprise. You got Minka, you got DeMonte Kazee, you got Miles Killebrew, you got Keanu Neal, Patrick Peterson, James Pierre, Peasy Jr. making the 53, Elijah Riley making the 53, Shannon Sullivan making the 53, and Levi Wallace. So my safeties this year, it's looking like it's going to be Minka. He's going to be the free safety playing on pretty much every single snap. That's the role of a free safety right there, so Minka better be in that position right there. That's no surprise. And then I think it's going to come down to DeMonte Kazee and Keanu Neal splitting reps at strong safety. So I think DeMonte Kazee definitely has earned his way on that 53, considering that he did have production with us last season when his number was called up. So it's good to see him back on the 53. And then Keanu Neal, definitely, I think he earned his way on the 53 as well. So I think those two are going to be sharing time at strong safety. And then as far as your corners go, Patrick Peterson, I think he is going to be your first cornerback. I think PZ Jr. definitely is going to be, swinging with him or subbing for him. I don't expect PZ Jr. to be a starter right away because, again, you don't want to rush a young guy like that. You want to see what he can learn from the veteran at first. So I agree with putting Peterson at cornerback 1 and having PZ just learn under him and swing from the time being. So there's Peterson. Levi Wallace is your second cornerback. And then an interesting position for your third one, I think it's going to come down to Shannon Sullivan at the third cornerback spot with Elijah Riley coming in swinging and dropping him more in the slot corner position. So those are your 4 corners right there for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. And then we get to the special teams, which kind of threw a curveball at me for a little bit. Boz is obviously going to be your kicker. Presley Harvin and Brandon Mann are going to be your punters this year. So the Steelers are going with 2 punters this year. And then Christian Kuntz is going to be your long snapper. Now, the thing with the 2 punters, okay, I don't think the Steelers are going to have 2 punters for the whole season. I think we're going to get rid of either of one of those guys, and it's going to be like an addition by subtraction sort of thing. One punter's going to be there. One of them is either going to be traded or cut, so that way we can bring up another depth piece to the team as well, which a lot of people are saying it's going to bolster up the corner spot. Maybe James Pierre's going to get another shot at it, or we bring up someone from the practice squad, or maybe we can call our neighbors to the east in Philly next door, give Howie Roseman a call like we have been doing, all off season. It's like, hey, what else can you give us, Philly, That's what a lot of Steeler fans are anticipating right here. But I don't think the Steelers are going to be going with 2 punters all season. I think this is an addition by subtraction sort of thing right here. But, yeah, man, this is your 53-man roster for the 2023 Pittsburgh Steelers. This is my initial reaction to it. Again, this is not the final roster. This is just the initial one. More are probably to come. But let me know what gents think down in the comments. Who do you think is the biggest surprise to you that's on the roster, and who do you think should have made the roster? Let me know what gents think down in the comments below. This is Mac checking on out for the day. Here we go, Steelers, baby!